Hi Capricorn, welcome to your April 2023 Astro-Tarot scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, these readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant signs. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Cappy, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. But remember, because I'm talking about the astrology, you want to be checking for your ascendant sign first, and if you're only going to watch one, I would advise you to make it your ascendant sign. All right, with that said, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So for your, I'm going to pop these to the side. For the first transit that I thought was worth having a look at over the course of this month, on the 6th of April, Mercury is going to conjunct the North Node. So Mercury, communications, information, writing, speaking, it's your thought process and your thought patterns, your speech. It's also contract, writing, skills that you do with your hands, and the flow of commerce. So I see Mercury more as the transactional nature of money rather than money itself, whereas Venus is money, right? Venus is that money, honey. All right, so the Mercury, and this isn't a rare transit, but it is an important one, right? Because the North Node of the Moon represents a fated energy, right? So the nodes of the Moon, the North and the South Node, the North Node is about something that is being initiated or something that we're being pulled towards or drawn to, that is seeding something new, or at least taking us on a new path in our lives. So the fact that Mercury conjuncts the North Node once every year, so it's not a rare transit, but it doesn't always happen in the same sign. So this is something to be noteworthy, right? Now this for you is happening in your 5th house of pleasure, joy, romance, fun, enjoyment. It's about your children, speculative endeavors, right? So things like not so much like hardcore investing, but this is kind of like, yeah, I'm going to buy some shares and just see what happens. This is, putting money on the lottery or on a horse, or, that kind of thing, like a gamble. Gambling is the 5th house, right? But it's gambling for pleasure, not for like, oh my gosh, I need to put my house on the roulette table because, I lost all my money at the casino. Like, all right, we got to be sensible about it. But the 5th house is pleasure, joy, romance, fun, creativity, personal projects. So because it's the house of children, if you don't have kids or you're not planning to have any children, this is your personal projects, things that are like your baby. Like Radiant Reality is like my baby, right? I've loved it into being. So it could be that a child shares something with you now that requires a lot of thought. Mercury rules your 6th house, so this could be new responsibilities that come in through your children. So maybe your child says to you, it could be anything, like something that kind of makes you pause and say, okay, I need to give that some thought before I move ahead with it. But it's bringing new responsibilities into your world in some way, shape or form. If you don't have children, I would then look to your 9th house of learning, because the higher education and legalities is the 9th house, and Mercury also rules Virgo as well as Gemini, right? So what I would look at there is that 9th house for you, like what is going on in that space. If you have an idea or a request of some kind has been sent, this might be a time where you get an answer to that, but it's one that requires some serious thought or consideration, and it has the potential to change things at a grassroots level. So because it's the 9th house, let's say you put your application in for a visa, right? And then you have to wait, and then you get the answer and they say, yes, okay, we're going to grant you the visa, but it's going to be, I think in Spain they have an NLV, a non-lucrative visa. So basically what they're saying is you can come here, but you're not allowed to work. So do you see what I mean? It's like you get the thing, but then you have to think, okay, how am I going to do this? What is going to be possible or not, as the case may be. So for this, you have the Tower card, of course. So whatever information is shared with you about a child, about your own higher philosophy, learning, or potentially some legal situation, or maybe even your own religion or belief structure, changes something for you in a very fundamental way, because it's the Tower card. It's a big realization. Because you've got the Five of Swords here, this potentially causes a bust up, right? And then you've got the Queen of Swords. So there's no getting around it. There is an argument brewing here. I'm really sorry to say this, just because of the combinations of cards that you've got. So the Queen of Swords is something that we're willing, ready, and able to fight for. The Five of Swords is the fight or the argument that happens, and the Tower card is its explosive energy. So this could be, right, so because ninth house is potentially involved as well as the sixth house, let's say you have plans to move abroad. Just throwing this out there. Fifth house, Mercury conjunct the North Node in the fifth. You know, one of your kids says to you, well, I'm not going, and Nan says I can stay with her, so I'm going to move in with my grandmother and you can move to another country. If I know Capricorns, right, there is potentially some shit brewing around here. So, excuse me, that's just one way that this could play out though. Queen of Swords is usually an air sign woman, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. But because of this, I'm taking this more to be the experiential kind of things. Now, when it comes to work, because of Mercury rules the sixth house as well. Oh, excuse me. There's the Capricorn. Because your sixth house is your daily grind. It's your work, right? It's your job. It's the things that you have to do. And so there might be something around this where you maybe pull up a boss or an employer to say, hang on a sec, why is it this person can sit on their ass and do nothing and I'm expected to do everything, right? As is usually the case for a lot of Capricorns, sadly. Now, on the 11th of April, we got a beautiful transit. The Sun is coming into a gorgeous conjunction with Jupiter. So this for you is happening in your fourth house of home, property, family, real estate, your deep emotional energy, like the deepest emotional self. But it's also a part of you that represents your ancestry, right? So this could be a big illumination when it comes to your home, family, property, real estate, etc., and potentially where you live. Now, the Sun as the ruler of your 8th house and Jupiter as ruler of your 3rd and your no, that can't be right. Sorry, I've just written this wrong. But the Sun as the ruler of your 8th house is illuminating a space. It's coming into your 4th house, right? The 4th and the 8th house are both they're very deep spaces, right? The 4th house is the deepest part of you, which is being illuminated right now. The Sun is authority figures and consciousness and illumination. Jupiter is wisdom, gurus, coaches, people that are, mentors, higher ups even, celebrities, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, the Sun can be that as well, but someone is taking a shine to you. And I like this for mending issues, potentially with a sibling, because the Jupiter is the ruler of your 3rd house as well. I also like this for a realization about a fear or a trauma that you've carried. And the illumination of this is dispelling the stuff and the hold that the stuff has on you. So this could be a powerful realization, a big conversation that you have with a sibling. All of this happening in that 4th. I love this for buying a home. I really like this for starting a home-based business, and I really like this for a lot of you for pregnancies or expansion of the home or the family in some way. Now, it doesn't have to be you having the kids, because remember, Jupiter is the ruler of your 3rd as well, and in the 4th house, remember, Jupiter expands what it touches. Growth, luck, abundance, expansion. So this could literally be an expansion of the family by a sibling having a child. Very possible. I also like this for if you've been having problems or issues with an inheritance. I love this for solving that for you. And then there's good news that comes sort of abound from this. So you've got the 10 of Wands, the release of some kind of a burden, which is great. You've got the Star card, so hopes for the future as well, with the 5 of Cups. So for those of you that have had problems, challenges, or issues around an inheritance, this is some kind of healing around that. The Star card is healing, right? The Star, interestingly enough, follows the Tower. So you had the Tower come up for the Mercury Conjunct the North Node. So you're learning something there potentially that's like, oh shit, how do I deal with this? And then here you're seeing, okay, how do I incorporate this into my life now? Now the Five of Cups coupled with that Star card, this could be literally letting go of or releasing some kind of future plan that you had in order to deal with things here and now. All right, like in the way that things are. It could also be for a select few of you as well that some kind of a timeline. Maybe you had, right, it's like, yes, I've got 3 years to do this, or I've got 2 years to do that, or I've got 5 years and that's my plan for this, this, and this. The timeline has switched, right? The timeline's been moved up or changed in some way, shape, or form. Now, on the same day, Venus, the lady, the goddess of love, attraction, money, worth, values, and also harmony and diplomacy at 0 degrees of Gemini, is in a perfect trine to Pluto, Lord of transformation, destruction, death, you know, all of those sort of harsher taboo subjects, but also magnetism. Remember what I say to you, Pluto is not adverse to giving wealth. It really isn't. The word Pluto itself literally means wealth. It comes from the word Plusius, which in Greek actually means rich. So whenever you hear Pluto, it's like, it's really easy to, oh no, this is gonna be awful. But actually, you know, especially in such a gorgeous, sexy trine with Venus, like, damn, like, son, this is attractive because you've got Pluto in the 2nd house of money, finances, and resources. This is going to see, like, over the last 2.5 years while Saturn was in Aquarius, this will have really put a dampener on your finances, and how much money you could earn might have become really hard work, right? And now that Saturn's out of Aquarius and into Pisces, and Pluto is coming into that sign, this is where you get obsessed about making money, but potentially in a good way. In this transit between the 2nd house of finances, money, and resources, and Venus at 0 degrees of Gemini in your 6th house, your job, your work, your day-to-day habits, routines, and status quo, Venus is in a house, so this I actually really like, because Venus is an energy of attraction, and Pluto is an energy of magnetism. So between your 2nd and your 6th houses, if you're going to go for a new job, ask for the highest salary that they have possible. If you're going to this could be a promotion of some kind that comes in, but it's a promotion that comes in that enhances your earning potential. It could see you earning money or attracting resources to yourself easier than you have done for a while, and it maybe is setting up some kind of special connection, especially because Venus rules your 10th house. Your Venus rules your 10th house and your money, and so your money and your career at this time, the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th of April, is doing very, very nicely. For this, you got the Queen of Cups, you got the Queen of Pentacles. 2 queens represent sincere friends, and you got this with the Page of Cups. So this actually looks to me like an ally. This is like someone that's coming in through the work, potentially maybe someone that takes a shine into you and says, yeah, you know what, I can work with this person. Like, you've got a similar mindset. Maybe this is a new friend or connection that you're making in the workplace that could be very lucrative for you, because this person understands who you are and how you work. That thing there as well with the Page of Cups on top of the Queen of Pentacles, this is something that started now that enhances your earning potential, because that's the greatest desire that you have at this moment in time. And, you know, regardless of what anyone says, there is nothing wrong with ambition. There's nothing wrong with, like, I'm sorry to say, I'm one of those, you know, I'm an Aquarius, so duh. I do have problems with people being like multi-billionaires. It doesn't make sense. You're never going to spend it in a lifetime, and there are so many more people in the world. That doesn't make sense to me. But to be a millionaire for aspirational wealth and stuff, especially because most of the people that reach that kind of wealth from really hard work tend to share it with everybody. Whereas, you know, like the 1%ers, sorry, but like, what are you doing? Like, literally, what are you here for? What are you actually contributing to society? Not a great deal in my opinion, but hey ho. Ran over. On the 20th of April, the sun, our luminary in the sky, is going to be at 0 degrees of Taurus, which for you is your 5th house. And Pluto will still be at that 0 degrees of Aquarius. Now, Sun square Pluto, the sun is, like I said, it's masculine energy, it's father figures, authority figures, bosses. It is also your husband, your father, all of those kinds of energies as well, is at that 0 degree of Taurus. Now, this one, because it is a square by its very nature, is a bit more tricky. It's a bit more dicey. And what comes up from this, in my humble opinion, it's something that you feel like you're ready for, but then you come to realize really quickly, oh shit, no, I'm not ready for this. I'm not about that. I thought I was ready for that, but I'm clearly not. This is like, you know, like when, I don't know if anyone else has ever had this experience where you say like, I'm ready for love. I want a new relationship. And, you know, I want to be with someone that really wants to be with me and da-da-da-da. And then you meet someone that's super needy, super clingy, and like is in your face 24/7. After like being around them or knowing them or seeing them for 3 weeks, and you're like, okay, no, I'm not ready. I thought I was ready. I'm not ready. Maybe this is something like that. Now, it's happening between your 2nd house and your 5th house. So while you are ready, the other person or party may not be ready, all right? Because the 5th house is pleasure, romance, all of that kind of stuff. The sun, as the ruler of your 8th house, is bringing your attention to serious matters when it comes to creativity and responsibility, especially for your children or for things that you create. So maybe you create something, or you've got something that you're like, yeah, I want to put this out into the world. I'm totally ready. Like, let's say you want to start a YouTube channel, right? And you put something out there, and then, you know, it starts sort of blowing up or really doing something. You're like, okay, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready for that. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Pluto as the ruler of your 11th, maybe some of your longer term plans need to be financially readjusted because the timeline is unrealistic. So let's say you get approved for a mortgage, and then you look at it and you're like, yeah, that's going to leave me like £10 to eat every month. Something there, you know, it needs to be readjusted. For this, you got the 10 of Pentacles. All right. I like this. I like this a lot. With the Empress. Okay. So as hard as this fresh start, new beginning is going to be, because remember the sun is at 0 degrees of Taurus and Pluto is at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So it is a fresh start or a new beginning, but it's a difficult birth. That's what I've been calling that transit for everybody. 10 of Pentacles, the Empress and the High Priestess. Yeah, you may not be ready for it, but the results are absolutely there should you want them. The 10 of Pentacles with the Empress, that is beautifying or enhancing the home or the dwelling in some regard. It's potentially making more money, but not really having much time or energy to enjoy it at this moment in time. That's cool. Save it. Because at a later date, you will have a moment where you've got more time on your hands and you can spend that money, honey, for your... then you've got the High Priestess with the Empress. This is something that you're cooking up behind the scenes that you may or may not want to be public knowledge just yet, but it looks like somebody's out in you. All right, so whatever it is, you know, I don't know, maybe you post content online and nobody's seeing it and you're like, that's great, it means I can just relax and chill out and da-da-da-da. And then all of a sudden, you know, somebody's put it out there and you're like, oh my gosh, why are people viewing this? You know, there's that. So for your weeks of the month, for your first week of the month, you have the Hermit card, right? So definitely taking some time out for self. This first week of the month is likely to be slower for you than it is for most people. And I think that's a good thing because it gives you time to get your bearings around whatever is being shared with you. Then you've got the Hermit card with the Emperor, right? So this second week of the month definitely sees you needing to pull rank in some kind of way. This is, you know, that moment where it's like heavy is the head that wears the crown. This coupled with the Hermit, you're having to draw on a level of wisdom or knowledge or information or even just critical thinking that you probably haven't in a while. your brain's really doing 10 to the dozen in this second week around something, and you're like, I can't process. It's not that you can't process it, but there's something here where you're having to really think very hard. And maybe that's actually a good thing for you, you know, because usually they say we only use 10% of our brains. I would wager that for you guys, you use less because you're so used to really high level functioning regardless. So I'm intrigued by this. Now, the third week of the month, you've got the moon card. The moon has been quite active for that third week of the month. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to be happening on the wider world stage, because at that point it's eclipse season, isn't it? Like, that's the first, is it? No, I think it's later than that. I can't remember. Anyway, yes, so that's the Taurus new moon. So I'm intrigued to see where this is going to be, where it's going to be happening, where it's going to be going. All right. This is your past, and this here with the Emperor, this could be a conversation with somebody that you used to work with, an old boss, an old mentor, an old teacher of some sort could get in touch, or you could get in touch with them. What for? Only you will know. And then you've got your card, the Devil card, here in the fourth week of the month, right next to the Moon card. Because of all that's happening this month, I am inclined to say that you're probably going to be very tempted to go back to a way of doing something that you know is either destructive or doesn't work. And it's like, well, it's familiar, it worked at one point in my history, so I'm sure it will work again. I'm not sure that is the case this time round, my dear Capricorn friends. And so you got to find some new skills, some new talents, of which you have many. All right. So for the full moon in Libra on the 6th of April, we have the Gate 43 and Ahead, one of my favorite cards. This is about seeing something before its worth or value is seen by other people. So whatever ideas or nudges or hunches you have about something that you think could be big or the next thing, you jump in on it before anybody else does, because you're picking up something that nobody else can see yet. And then the new moon in Taurus slash Aries is at, you've got the Gate 7 and Discipline. And the message behind this card actually is about understanding your use or your value for the collective. So this is about having the discipline to do what you know you're meant to be doing, as opposed to what you would like to do. And that new moon is going to highlight that to you on the 20th, the same day that the sun will square Pluto. All right, so interesting. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic month. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. I know you're probably thinking, where are the different sectors? Don't worry, those are coming in a separate video. I want these to be short enough to be digestible. All right. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Take care of yourself. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you soon.